Hey, what's the deal? That's your boy Tag for Pro Wrestling Tag. You know what I mean? As of this recording, it is 5:26 p.m., November 18th, 2025. You know what I'm saying? This is the second video of the day. Second video of the fucking day. You know what I mean? And I did see a bit of the, I did see a bit of the Ariel Helwani interview with Tony Khan. Right? And there were a lot of things. To me, I think Ariel Helwani played Tony Khan. I think he played them good. Because throughout this entire interview, right, he basically had him acknowledge WWE. If you think about it, right? You know, like he couldn't keep WWE's name out his mouth and everything. Right? It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Right? You know, he also confirmed some stuff that we probably been knew. I mean, we've been new. You know what I mean? We've been new. Like, he mentioned something about, you know, he would like to have Jericho back. Jericho is basically good as gone. He's good as gone. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's basically good as gone. Britt Baker, to me, is good as gone from AEW. You know what I'm saying? What else? You know, he mentioned about, you know, his thoughts about WBD and stuff, right? And, you know, the sale. And Tony Khan basically gave an answer that was kind of, you know, a little bit anticlimactic, right? And all that. But there was something that was going around. Oh, yeah, he also mentioned about CM Punk, right? He brought up CM Punk because you knew that was going to be asked, right? And he was like how, well, he would have loved to reconcile with CM Punk. But my dude, you still was the one that aired the footage. Nobody forced you to air that footage but you. You aired it, my man. You aired it. But there's this narrative going around, right? And I don't know if this was before the interview started and such that, and I'm going to clean this up completely, okay? There's this narrative that the Saudis could potentially buy AEW. And I'm here to tell you, like, that is complete bullshit. That is a bullshit narrative. Now, I don't know where the fuck that rumor came from. I really don't. The thing that I heard was Paramount is, you know, they still want WBD. And I think they're going to get it. You know what I mean? Because Paramount is actually working a deal to, you know, they're working with the Saudis to acquire what's his face? WBD, right? So the notion that, you know, the Saudis, it could potentially buy AEW is complete horseshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Number one, the Saudis already have a deal with WWE, right? They've already created a deal with WWE where, you know, not only with events and such for UFC and everything, but also think about this, right? Also, we're talking about like, you know, the EA Sports deal with Silver Lake, right? Let me see what else, you know, and the boxing league, right? The fucking boxing league. So I don't know where the fuck this notion came from that AEW could be potentially sold to the Saudis. The other thing too is, you know, make a deal with the Saudis. The other thing too that people seem to forget is AEW is not even a big enough name, you know, to you know, even be sold to the Saudis. Like the Saudis don't even know who the fuck AEW is, right? But I don't know who came up with this notion, but I've been seeing this notion online, right? And I call capping bullshit on that because, you know, it's just, you know, it's comical. It's beyond fucking comical, right? It's hilarious. You know, and let's say hypothetically if a deal does happen, right? Hypothetically, right? Which I definitely don't see happening. If by any stretch of the imagination that there's a deal happening, right? And WWE does a deal with, you know, already have their deal with, you know, with the Saudis, right? You don't think that, the public investment fund is going to combine both AEW and WWE together? You don't think so? If you don't think so, you are sadly mistaken. Oh yeah, that's another thing Tony Khan brought up too, right? He mentioned how how the WWE TNA relationship was created to block off AEW, and so far it's worked. It's worked. You can tell, Tony Khan was nerved by that interview. Yeah, it might have came out a little bit good, right? But you can basically tell that, this interview was basically to make Tony Khan look like a fucking blithering idiot. You can feel it. I mean, you can feel it. You can feel it because, it was just all WWE with this interview. Shit, they even brought up, I was gonna say Ari Emanuel. Ariel Hawani even brought up the picture that was flown around with Punk, Rhodes, Ricky Starks, and Jay Cargill, right? The fumbled picture, right? And Tony Khan says, "Oh well, it made me happy, right? Okay." And he also once again stated that AEW was great, right? Which is bullshit, right? I mean, my dude, come on, man. You can't be fucking serious, B. You can't be. You can't be, you really can't be this inept, to actually think that, everything is okay when it's not, nigga. It's not, motherfucker. But to say that the Saudis, right, would buy AEW, I don't know where the fuck that rumor is coming from. I really don't know. I honest to God do not know, right? Now the thing that AEW needs to worry about, right? Now, what could happen is, like I said, let's say if the Saudis hypothetically buy AEW, right? And I also have a theory, because that's another thing I forgot to bring up also with this. Ariel Hawani said that AEW is the only entity that does not have a deal with the Saudis, right? And Tony Khan was like, yeah, that is true. That is true. Now I don't know if something tried to happen, before then. And AEW said no, or WWE came. What I'm thinking is WWE came and blocked everything, especially with the deal with TKO and stuff, with the Saudis. Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, especially if the Saudis have a deal with TKO, right? You don't think WWE came in there and blocked whatever deal that was going to happen for AEW if it happened? Come on. You know what I'm saying? The other thing too with this is the fact that, remember, Tony Khan is, he wants to be on TNT because of WCW, right? I want to be in the same network as WCW. World Championship Wrestling. Come on, B. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you're this fucking delusional. It's laughable, bro. It's laughable. This is why he shouldn't do fucking interviews. He just makes himself look real fucking stupid. There were some people, it was a cringeworthy interview. It really was. It wasn't as bad as their first one, but it was still bad. It was still fucking bad because, again, to me, this was a WWE. He basically promoted WWE on this one, right? Because Tony Khan could have easily told Ariel Hawani, I don't want to answer questions about WWE and such, but you still went in this interview, sight unseen. So who looks stupid at the end? It's not WWE. It clearly isn't fucking WWE. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think, B. You know what I mean? You legitimately gotta fucking think. If this was not about WWE, right, then why the fuck was, why the fuck was, why this interview had a lot of WWE questions. Why? Huh? Why? Why, B? Why? Like I said, to me, this clearly was a WWE, promotion in this interview. Clearly. But again, the fact that, AEW, because Warner Bros. Discovery and AEW, two completely different things, right? So, what I think, now I'm starting to think that Paramount, it could be Paramount who could buy Warner Bros. Discovery. That's what I'm thinking now. Because if they're working with the Saudis, because it seems like they're going to go there, right? And that's the thing. Right? So, with Paramount, remember, they got to deal with TKO and everything, right? And someone, they're definitely going to box in AEW. They're clearly boxing these motherfuckers in. You know what I mean? WWE, and with this deal with for TNA, with AMC, they're definitely boxing AEW into a point where, AEW now is in a position where I don't think they're gonna survive, bro. I don't think so. Everything is just down for this company. Everything. You know what I mean? Like from attendance to morale and everything else, right? So, but to say that the Saudis could potentially buy AEW, I clearly do not see that happening. Definitely. Again, I don't know where the fuck is this rumor coming from. I don't. You know what I mean? But I will say that I do think the Saudis is going to get involved in, with WBD and stuff. But the question is with who? You know what I mean? The Public Investment Fund. And I think, hands down, right, the Saudis and TKO specifically will be working with each other in a much, 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 much stronger capacity, to the point where we could potentially see, WWE and UFC on Warner Brothers programming. I would not be shocked, B. I would not be shocked. Anyway, guys, I'm about to be out. You know what I'm saying? I might come with another video tonight. I don't know. You know what I mean? I got work in the morning tomorrow on a very rare Wednesday. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I will be making some videos tomorrow night for sure. Oh yeah, that's still happening. That's still happening. Happening. Anyway, guys, I'm about to be out. I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.